What's up, everyone? Welcome to DodgerHeads presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Daniel Starkand, here to break down an interesting series between the Dodgers and the Pirates that starts early today, afternoon game, 3:40 p.m. Daniel, you've got some history with Pirates fans. Normally, when we see the Pirates come to town, we think, okay, nice little easy, take a breath if you're the Dodgers. But this time when you see them on the schedule, this is a pretty good team. It's a different Pirates team than we've seen of late.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have some young talent. I will say the record is still below 500, so they're still not quite there yet. But yeah, they have a lot of young talent, especially on the mound, which I'm sure we're going to get into right now as we preview this series.
Yeah, and I should mention the Dodgers are on the road for this series, so they're traveling to Pittsburgh. But when I look at this series, Daniel, it's a matchup of an offense that hasn't been firing on all cylinders necessarily versus three pitchers that we're going to get into in a second who who have been fantastic. Dodgers offense of late, they've scored 4 or fewer runs in basically 9 of their last 11 games. I'm not counting the extra inning game where they scored 3 runs in the top of the 10th to get to 5. So if you exclude that, it's 9 out of their last 11. And we're going to get into Jared Jones, Paul Skenes, and Bailey Falter, 3 guys they're going up against. But just briefly on the Dodgers offense, is there anything you've seen in the last couple of weeks that has you overly concerned or sort of that feels like, dang, this might be not just a blip on the radar?
I mean, I wouldn't say overly concerned by any means, but I do think kind of what we've seen all season is that, kind of those bottom of the order guys haven't produced at all. And that puts a lot more pressure on the superstars at the top. And as we've seen the last couple of weeks, like those guys aren't going to be hot all the time. Like Mookie's going to, has cooled off a little bit.
Yeah.
Shohei has cooled off. Like Freddie's been kind of hit or miss all season. So like if those guys aren't kind of firing on all cylinders with the struggles at the bottom of the order, we're going to see stretches like we have in recent weeks. So I would say I'm not overly concerned just because I know, like, I'm pretty confident Mookie and Shohei are going to heat up again. It's just a question of can the bottom of the order guys do their part, and we've seen that a little bit compared to the very beginning of this season, but I still think there's more room for improvement there.
Yeah, off day, travel day yesterday, so hopefully that gets them a little bit rested, reset the mind. The offense comes out firing. The hard part for the offense is that it's not going to be easy in this one. Jared Jones, Paul Skenes, Bailey Falter, the 3 starters that the Dodgers are set to face. Today's going to be a great one. Tyler Glasnow versus Jared Jones. If you aren't familiar with Jared Jones, let me throw some numbers at you. 3.5 ERA, 1.01 WHIP. So you think, okay, pretty good stuff. 97 mile an hour fastball. 93% whiff rate, 93 percentile chase rate, 89th percentile walk rate. So let me repeat: elite whiff rate, elite chase rate, elite walk rate. That's an incredible combination for a young pitcher. It's basically fastball slider, 48% fastball, 38% slider. And that slider has a 40% whiff rate attached to it. So he throws the pitch nearly 40% of the times, and guys swing and miss at it 40% of the times. That's the good for Jones. If you want to be optimistic as a Dodgers fan, his last 3 starts have been kind of his worst starts. 11 earned run over that stretch, 5 of his 12 walks in those last 2 starts alone, compared to just 7 strikeouts. So it's possible, Daniel, that teams are starting to figure them out, that maybe there's a scouting report out there on Jones. But what do you like about this Glasnow versus Jones versus the Dodgers offense matchup today?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of swing and miss stuff for both guys. And I've been really impressed with Jared Jones, kind of his poise so far in his young career. Obviously, a rookie here. Paul Skenes is getting a lot of the headlines, but Jared Jones has kind of been the guy who's been there since opening day and has pitched really well. I know you said he's kind of faltered a little bit lately, but even still, the overall numbers are really good. So it'll be a good test for the Dodgers. Like you said, he's probably not going to walk a ton of guys, so I would hope they're going to come out looking to be aggressive, try and jump on him early. I think with young pitchers, you could kind of get to them in that first inning before they settle in. That would be ideal. So I'm looking forward. It should be a good pitching matchup, a lot of swing and miss stuff. And hopefully the Dodgers could kind of start the series off on the right foot, knowing that they're going to be facing, Paul Skenes in game 2.
Totally. A few prop bets just to throw at you. You tell me if any of these jump out. Over 5.5 strikeouts is -110. Obviously, a Dodgers team that tends to strike out a lot. The hard part is he has gone under in his last 2 and 3 of his last 4. Another one is you could go under 16.5 outs recorded. If you like the Dodgers offense to bounce back, can he not get out of that 6th inning? He went 4 1/3 last time, but has gone over in 3 of his last 4. The one that I think I like the most, and I kind of hinted at this, you can get over 1.5 walks at plus 115. He had 2 walks and 3 walks in his last 2 outings. He's gone 2 or more in 3 of his last 4. The fact that you're getting plus money, a Dodgers team that maybe has a little bit more command of the strike zone than the average team, I think that would be my favorite. Anything in there over strikeouts, under outs recorded, or over walks that you like?
I like the last 2 for sure. Just because, like you said, the Dodgers are a team that kind of works counts, and we'll see if he's coming out throwing strikes. That may foil those plans a little bit, but yeah, I like the Dodgers to come out and look to work counts, get him out of the game early, get into that Pirates bullpen early in the series if they can.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, he's 93rd percentile in chase rate, which is kind of why the walk rate has been so low. The Dodgers historically don't chase. So I know the slider's nasty. If the Dodgers can see it and spit on it, so to speak, then it becomes the opportunity for him to get the pitch count up, have a couple walks, that kind of a thing. Matchup number 2, Paul Skenes for the Pirates, James Paxton for the Dodgers. I joked with you. I was like, don't we have a guy we can throw on short rest just to make this a little bit more fun? Skenes is as advertised, arguably the top prospect in baseball. 99.3 mile an hour fastball rate. He's striking out nearly 36% of batters that he faces. Everything is elite. 22 innings so far, 6 earned runs. That's a 2.45 ERA, 0.91 whip, and again, 30 strikeouts. If you missed his game against the Cubs, 6 hitless innings, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. Again, last 3 starts, he's gone 18 innings, 23 strikeouts, just 3 earned runs. So this will be a tough matchup. I mean, Jones, again, maybe you look at that and say, well, maybe there's a couple cracks. Maybe guys have started to figure him out. Nobody has figured out Paul Skenes. And even if you do figure it out, you still got to be able to hit it.
Yeah, no, great point. First thing, I just want to point out that both Jared Jones and Paul Skenes are Southern California kids, so it's pretty cool to see them both on the same team, having great rookie years so far. And also just wanted to point out, like, the overall rookie pitching class, like, it should be an interesting race for rookie of the year. You got these 2 guys, you got Imanaga on the Cubs, and then you got Yamamoto and Gavin Stone with the Dodgers. So we could see an all starting pitching rookie of the year race in the National League this year. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, Paul Skenes has been as good as advertised. Obviously the stuff is phenomenal. Like, he's throwing in the hundreds with a nasty breaking ball. So he kind of, I know as Dodger fans, we're very enamored with Roki Sasaki right now. He's kind of the American version of that, just with insane stuff and the ability to command it as well. So yeah, that'll be a tough challenge, but the Dodgers lineup, I would say, is kind of fit to battle him, to work counts, kind of like we were just talking about, and try and get that pitch count up, so they're not still facing him in the 6th or 7th inning. Like, if you could get both of these 2 young pitchers out, in the 5th or so, I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one on the betting lines. There's nothing out yet, but, like, is it possible that the Dodgers are actually underdogs to the Pirates just because of the gap in starting pitching quality between Skenes and Paxton? I would bet that the Dodgers are still slight favorites, but probably closer to like plus 110, like minus 110 for the Dodgers rather than like minus 150 or whatever it is. Minus 185 is what it is today. Last one, Walker Buehler versus Bailey Falter. I looked at Falter's name and I was like, oh, thank goodness. Finally a break for the Dodgers here. 5.58 ERA, 5.13 ERA the last 2 seasons with a whip over 1.4. Well, guess what? Not this season. 3.22 ERA and a whip under 1 for him. He has gone 6 innings or more in 4 straight with just 5 total earned runs allowed over that stretch. The good news for the Dodgers, one of the worst strikeout rates in all of Major League Baseball, 38 strikeouts in 64 1/3. The Baseball Savant page says he's a little bit more fortunate than he is good this season, much like James Paxton. Very similar profiles as far as good stats, but all of the underlying metrics saying like this carriage might turn into a pumpkin pretty soon. So Buehler on the other side is probably the story here. Not an awesome outing his last time, not terrible, but not up to his standards. So what is your biggest takeaway thing to watch in this 3rd game in the series?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll start with Falter here because I think you broke it down pretty well, and I like the Paxton comparison as well. They have very similar Savant pages where You know, the ERA numbers and such may look pretty good, but there are signs that he's been getting a little lucky. Like you said, one of the worst strikeout rates in baseball, so that's going to be a pretty big change from going against Jared Jones and Paul Skenes to Bailey Falter there. So who knows, like that change in change in dynamic there from the hard throwing righties to kind of the crafty lefty. That'll be interesting to see. But yeah, Walker Buehler to me, I've actually been encouraged by what I've seen from him. Like you said, not his best outing last time out, but the fact that he was able to battle and get through 6 there, it seems he started to kind of round into form here. He's been back for almost a month now. The overall numbers aren't exceptional, but I think we're all willing to give him that leeway considering how much time he missed and the fact that, you know, he's just kind of working his way back after almost 2 years off. I've been encouraged, and I think this is a good chance for him to kind of build off that against a Pirates team that, you know, they're not exactly the best offense in the league. So, you know, hopefully they're going for a series win by the time that game comes, or maybe even a sweep. But I would say the first 2 games won't be easy necessarily. So we'll kind of see how it goes.
It's always tough to sort of map these out when you've got such good starting pitching on the other side. But to your point, you look at the Pirates, it's like they still lose more games than they win. So despite the fact that they have this pitching, you know, if the Dodgers can just get these guys out of the game, then the advantage swings massively in their favor. And especially in the first game with Jared Jones, there's not a massive pitching advantage because Tyler Glasnow's on the other end, who you could argue might be even better at this moment right now. So should be a fun series. Scott and I will be live tonight post-game. It's going to be an early post-game again, so make sure to check that one out. 3:40 p.m. Pacific time, I believe, is first pitch. So that post-game show will be around 6:30, depending on how slow the game is. But should be a fun one to break down between Jones and Glasnow. As always, check out DodgerBlue.com, DodgerBlue1958 on social media. And if you're a podcast person, you can find the DodgerHeads podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Google. That is Daniel Starkand. I am Jeff Spiegel, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. As always, go Dodgers.